just more like, hey, what do y'all do? So, do you dress up for Halloween? Do you dress up for Halloween?
I used to. I
Okay.
used to be really big about dressing up for Halloween. Now that like I like in my 20s I was. Like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my 30s I just chill on Halloween. Like this,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So does that mean maybe in your 40s you might start dressing up again?
I feel like there's like eras, like especially when you have kids. I don't have kids yet, so when you have kids, you start to dress up again
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you want to go through Halloween with them
It's
all
true.
over again.
It's true. I'm in my 40s. I do dress up with my kids. I have dressed up with them in the past. One year I dressed up as Cleopatra, which is one of the costumes y'all saw on my stories. I've also dressed up as what was the other one? Oh, the last one was La Llorona that I had dressed up as.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a little too personal maybe because I was like, well, I got my kids and my boys. They were pretty creeped out by that. They're like,
It's scary.
yeah, it's super scary. They're like, oh, okay. But I'm also typically not a theatrical person, even though it may seem like it. On here, I'm not like, let me go scare some people. I don't typically, so I really got into character for that. It was a lot of fun. It was one of my spooky moments.
Nice.
And I will be sharing, stay tuned, I will be sharing behind the scenes on that costume because I actually created a little video before Reels became like a thing. I actually created a video, so I'm going to share that behind the scenes with you. Do you give out candy?
We usually try. It's like I feel like there haven't been as many kids out doing candy, so it's been so strange. Like that was one of my favorite childhood memories, and not as many trick-or-treaters. I don't know what's going on.
I think it's also because of more people do events now.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
like now people are going, oh, like what event is happening? So like local communities are throwing, trunk or treats and all this other stuff. And then this year, Halloween is on a Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
I think it's on a Tuesday. That's kind of lame, y'all. We've been trying to get them to, or like I speak for everybody, but so a lot of people are talking about trying to move Halloween to the weekend, so you can have the Halloween weekend. Yeah, it's on a Saturday versus a Sunday. Who wants to go celebrate Halloween on a Tuesday?
No.
Yeah, no. So, do you remember the last costume you dressed up in?
Honestly, like I can remember a few. Like one year I was a purple crayon.
Oh, love it.
Very interesting. I like colorful costumes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else. I can't think. I think I might have tried like a Marie Antoinette type of thing one year. I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. I also remember as a kid, we weren't super rich, weren't super poor, but I wanted to dress up as a costume that we couldn't afford, and I was like, I told my mom, and my mom was like, I ain't gonna get you that, and so I ended up wearing just like bright colors or something. It was Rainbow Bright. I don't know.
Oh, that's really adorable.
Yeah, I don't know if you know Rainbow Bright. Some people, like I said, I'm in my 40s, so people might not know who Rainbow Bright is. But she was this blonde, colorful rainbow girl. And I didn't have a costume. I just wore bright colors. I was like, I'll just put some makeup on, I guess. I don't know.
Just something fun.
Yeah, something fun. Because I was tired of being a witch every year. I think my mom bought me the witch costume every year. Like, come on, people. So, yeah, it was something else. But we really appreciate you chiming in on the Trending Cheesemas segment, and we like to hear from y'all. Again, if y'all ever want to chime in, follow us on the IG stories any day between Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and you can chime in and share your cheesema as well, or have cheesema to share. Send it over to us, and we'll talk about it as well. But we are super excited to have Shannen here as our guest because she's got a lot of things I know she wants to share with her community and our community as well, and we definitely want to support her. We've been seeing her doing some amazing things. So we like to start usually this part of the segment with the fun fact about yourself, a little icebreaker, right? Something that people might not know about you if they met you for the first time, right? Something that's not as noticeable, right? Like they say, oh, maybe your favorite color is purple, right? Right. So share something that you would like that maybe people or your supporters might not know about you.
So one thing I like to share that's really funny is right before I started my business, I actually got married to my partner Nadia the week before COVID started.
Oh,
so we were like one of the last weddings, and whenever we went on our honeymoon the week after, that's when COVID hit. So we almost got stuck in South Africa.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
wild.
good fun fact. I like that fun fact. Yeah, so it was kind of a blessing though too, because you're like, okay, now we're in it for the good and the bad, because COVID really brought out really brought out a lot of things in people. But it was a tough time for veteran people that are been married for a long time, and then people I'm sure that were just getting married.
Oh,
right?
yes.
The newlyweds. So y'all were in the newlywed stage of y'all's relationship. Were y'all already living together?
We were, but we both had to work from home, and that was the first time we had to work from home together. So it was just it was interesting. Like one room was her office, the other room was mine. It was weird.
Yeah,
super weird.
Y'all had to kind of like relearn how to be around each other.
Exactly.
And also, you know, when you're at work too, you tend to also have certain things that you probably don't tend to bring home, like certain quirks or things.
Right. And you can like hear through the wall. Like when your partners are like working like side by side, you can hear through the wall.
Yeah.
So I could hear her some of her meetings sometimes.
Yeah. I understand that my husband works from home at times sometimes, and so I'm home as well most of the time. And I'll hear how he kind of does his pitches or whatever, because he's in sales, and I'm like, oh, okay. Interesting. We really appreciate y'all that have joined us on IG Live right now. We are doing an episode with Shannen Garza Hakim, the owner of Woman on the Moon, which is a handmade jewelry business, I believe, boutique business, right? Online business. So I'm really excited about your business because I've been following you for a while. She's wearing these wonderful earrings that she's actually, did you make these as well?
Yes, this is from the newest collection.
Yeah, so it's the newest collection. I love hearts. But I've been following you for a while, like I said, but everything that you're doing is just very inspirational. You're part of the LGBTQ community. You are about inclusivity. You are also representing the Afro-Latina community, which is super cool. I really, we want to bring people on here that are really just putting themselves out there. And you're definitely doing it. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit, though, how that got started. Like, did that just, and was that just something that just kind of naturally came to you? Or was it something that you were like, no, I'm going to do this?
It came out of kind of like necessity. I actually worked in education for 10 years. So I was in college and career access. I was primarily spending time like helping Black and brown students to get internships, jobs, get into college, to basically have access to opportunity. And like as my career started growing, I started to really realize women of color aren't being promoted at the same rate. And so I went through a couple of interview experiences where I was like, it feels like there's not as much access. So around that time, I thought, I could go out and get my own skills. I can wait for someone to promote me, or I could just go out and get these skills myself. And so one of the things that I was doing during the pandemic was I was beading jewelry for stress relief. So I'd be on Zoom calls like beading and sewing because it was so exhausting. And I thought I could sell these. It was just kind of like a thought you have while you're doing it. You're like, I could definitely sell these. And that's kind of how I started thinking about the concept for Woman on the Moon.
Yeah, that's super cool. So tell me though, this might be a question you probably get asked a lot, but how did you come up with the name Women on the Moon?
Yes. So at the time that the pandemic started, there was supposed to be a mission to the moon. It's the Artemis mission, with the first woman on the moon. So it was this huge deal. They weren't announcing the astronauts yet, but they knew it was going to be one of these women. And so Woman on the Moon is kind of a play on Man on the Moon. There hasn't been a woman on the moon yet. It's kind of like drawing attention to this idea that like women aren't getting highlighted in the same ways all the time, and they don't always get to do things first.
Yeah.
So that's where the name kind of came from.
That's super cool. And we still haven't had a woman on the moon, right?
No, still, it's still postponed, but I think it is getting closer. I hope in 2024. Yeah.
That'll be really cool. Okay, question answered. So somebody said, was your business born during COVID? Yes. Yes. We really appreciate that question, Rosie Garcia. If you didn't catch any of some of the segment that we're just talking about because of the train, we're in the East End, and so, but we will definitely try to make sure we catch y'all's questions. But thank you so much. So that's super cool. I think a lot of businesses were born during COVID. Mine as well. Well, actually, I was starting right during COVID, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. That's a cool idea. I love the idea because as women, we still haven't not necessarily conquered, but we still haven't entered all spaces.
Right.
And so being on the moon is definitely a space that we haven't been on yet. So it's super cool. I love that. One of the things also I just recently saw about on your Instagram, so go follow her on Instagram. It's women, but with an X. So
Yes.
WOMXN on the moon on IG. You can see some of the works that she's done, but you recently got, you were in a cool space with some really powerful people and just getting to be able to talk about what you do and also being honored, I believe, which was for the, I can't remember the actual event name, but I know it was here in Houston with Beyonce.
Oh yeah, Be Good.
Yeah, Be Good. There you go. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought for a minute. Yes, so the Be Good event. So tell us how you got to be a part of that.
I love Be Good. Like I love Beyonce's foundation because I feel like she gets it in the sense that the luncheon was like a space for like Black women to come together and just be able to be inspired for their business. One of the themes that I really enjoyed is like we lift each other as we climb, which is so important for women of color. Like we are literally pulling each other up as some of us enter these spaces. So, so we didn't get to see Beyonce. I was hoping,
Like,
but we saw her mom.
Like at the end, like,
Yes.
here I am.
Yes, we saw her mom.
Yeah, I saw
and,
that. She was there.
But she's very giving. I knew I had to apply because it was Houston based, and I knew she was gonna like really do Houston well. And she just the way that she's able to give to small businesses matters because a lot of times these grants are the difference between us staying open and closing.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the women who got grants cried because they're on the brink of closing.
Yeah, yeah. The people don't understand how important it is to support small business. That's why we're here. That's why this platform's here to not only just support, but that one share, that one, inspiration for others out there to be able to support another small business. So as far as supporting your business, where can we support you at? Where do you have an online store as well?
Yes, so the website is womanonthemoon.com, so WOMXN on the moon.com. That's the easiest space, but we're also branching into Amazon. So yes, it's only one product so far, so like nothing crazy, but by the Christmas season, I'll have 10 products on Amazon. Okay. And so branching out onto those platforms will kind of allow like all of the people who are trying to get jewelry last minute.
Yeah.
You can go and get 2-day shipping, which is very difficult. Like making
for a small business.
Exactly. Like making the jewelry during the holidays is so difficult because you need time.
Right. Now, is that something new? Because Amazon has seemed as a kind of the big bad wolf in the small business industry. So is that something new that they're doing?
So I'm in a program called Amazon BBA, and it's a program for Black women to diversify Amazon's platform. So it's one of those things where I'd be really interested to know how your audience feels because it's definitely a torn feeling that I had entering the platform.
Yeah.
I really wanted to hope that I could run my small business, pull myself up by my bootstraps, but it is very difficult. And I thought my business can, I could lose my business or I can try this platform. So there's definitely a push and a pull that I think is a conversation that I want to continue to lean into as Women on the Moon grows because there's no transparency there. And like, we have to be honest as business owners that we're making really hard choices. I was just talking to another jewelry business owner yesterday that my mentor linked me up with, and she was telling me like, I've had to make hard choices about production. And I was like, thank you for sharing because no one's open about it. Like, you have to make hard decisions.
Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, there's another question here we got from Rosie. She says, okay, next, how is business doing during COVID, after COVID and now? Ooh, that's a good question, Rosie.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. So how is it doing?
It's hard. It's a hard time for small businesses. There are so many, I'm in a cohort for small business owners, and many of us are having to return to work. So it's a very difficult time because, for example, I sell jewelry. It's not a necessity.
Right.
In my opinion, it is. I always wear jewelry, but it's not a necessity. And so it's a very difficult time. I don't have a pre-COVID comparison because I started in August of 2020.
Okay.
But I will say that when COVID first started, people were really like showing up for small businesses. They were going out to these markets. Now it's a bit slower, and I think maybe people have lost a little bit of steam for like really supporting these events. That's why I really love your platform, because you're supporting these type of events all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely been slower and more difficult.
Yeah, and so I really appreciate that, because we are supporting here all the time for small businesses. So so if you get a chance to support a small business during this holiday season, please do so. Please go out there. This is your opportunity to kind of connect. We will also be sharing here on the platform in the next couple months businesses to buy for and from for the Black Fridays and the what is it, the I can't think of the Monday. Small Business Saturday, and then also the Monday as well. I can't forget what that one is. Cyber Monday. Excuse me. Cyber Monday. I haven't had my second cup of coffee this morning, apparently. Thank you so much for joining BD Design, which is also a small business if you did not know. And I see also Soleil Shop as well that's joined. Thank you. So yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think also, because of COVID as well, we also got that access to Amazon. It was like that instant gratification, like, oh, click, bring it to me. It's right here at my door. I mean, I literally don't have to do anything. So I feel you on that. I'm very eager to see how your business thrives on Amazon, because, I am a small business supporter, so we want to make sure small businesses are being treated properly, being invested in, but not, exploited either. So I'm really eager to see how Amazon continues to build that relationship. One of the things also a lot of people don't know that I've been educating myself more about is grants. So tell us a little bit about, like, have you applied for other grants in the past? Was that your first time to apply for a grant?
No. So I have a background in nonprofit. So in some ways I do have a lens on what people who are like grant committees are looking for. And so I have been applying for grants for 3 years, and some of the biggest things that I can say is that you have to be able to quantify things with data, and you also need to have something tangible that you can show will have an impact on your business. This is something I share with everyone, like anyone who asks about grants, because a lot of times people will want to, apply for a grant saying, well, I'm using it for marketing. That's too broad. So a lot of times, like, I've been able to get machinery, making tangible requests and saying this machine is going to produce this many pieces of jewelry, and it's going to completely diversify my products. Like, you can make all these arguments to show why you need the funding, and a lot of people are just like, I really need the money.
I just need the money.
And I'm going to use it on marketing, and it's that. It doesn't work.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely been I had an opportunity to check out some grants, and I have seen some of their things. I don't have a tangible product, so sometimes, but there are definitely other grant opportunities out there for people like me who don't. So don't be completely deterred from applying for grants. It's just gotta find the one that works for you, that's more into the niche that you're in. Have you ever done a pitch competition?
Yes. So, like, it's really wild. Like, the first 3 months I started the business, I was on GMA, and so it was a pitch competition. And so they had, like, a business owner judge 3 of us, and it's really weird. It's super, super weird, because you don't get a chance to, like, make that up. Like, once you give your pitch, that's your pitch. You don't get a second chance.
Yeah. But you've already learned from it, right?
Yeah.
Learn how to be that voice for your business, and be that person to also learn your voice also for your business. Because I'm working on that as myself as well, to learning, like, the brand voice and all of that, all those things that come into play with having a business. So if we have any questions out there, I'll give this a minute. I do see a couple people on. If y'all have any questions for Shannen, she's here with us today on Let's Vamonos Live. And you can watch this full episode if you're just coming in. We can watch this full episode on our pre-recorded YouTube that we'll be sharing as soon as possible. We are also learning some different strategies and techniques through this technology. So we're really trying to connect with y'all out there on the lives, but we also want to make sure the content and quality is good as well on our YouTube. So we've been just testing some things out, and I'm really glad to have you here on the couch to be able to be one of my guests. We had been connecting for a while. I know at one point you were at Kismet Boutique. Are you still there?
No, not currently, but I love Christina and I love that boutique. I always recommend people go get shopping there.
Yes, for sure. So are there any boutiques you're in currently in the Houston area?
No, so I'm actually completely digital now. So
okay.
Which is hard because a lot of customers like to see the jewelry in person, but digital is kind of the type of business I've wanted to run for a long time. I think when business owners start a business, they aren't necessarily always thinking of like what works for them and what's going to keep them sustainable. And I'm a huge introvert. It's very hard for me to do markets. Like I really do try to turn it on and be there for my customers, but it's difficult. And so it's been a dream of mine to run a completely digital platform and just be able to ship remotely.
I love that. Yeah, you got to own what you know and own what you're good at, and I think you do great with your social media, your website. So I think people don't understand. You don't necessarily have to be everywhere.
Right.
Just everywhere. You just need to be in the places that you need to be in. So Rosie is asking. Yeah, I'd love to know more about different strategies to use. Okay, Rosie. So what kind of strategies are you asking? Like as far as like her business or for marketing or? Give me a little more details, and then we'll definitely kind of chime in on that. And we appreciate your questions, Rosie, because we always need a girl out there that's asking all the questions, because that helps us as well to learn and connect with our supporters out there. We want to make sure that we're getting the information out there to those people that are also wanting the information as well. So let me see if she responds here really quickly. Okay, but so we do appreciate those that are on here because we know it's the Astros, y'all. I'm wearing my gear. Like we know the Astros game's going on today, so we're kind of like wondering how the live was going to go. But no worries, we appreciate those that have chimed in today. And are you a sports fan?
I'm not a huge sports person.
Okay.
My wife is. My wife is. She's mostly watches football.
Oh, she watches football. That's okay too. Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, I grew up with nothing. Well, I had my dad and my brother. They loved watching sports all the time. So I was indoctrinated. I was brainwashed, as I like to say.
Yes.
and then I married a guy who also loves sports. So I'm a fan, of course, as well. But let me see here. Maybe she catches us. Well, as far as strategies, one of the strategies you just shared with us was the going digital strategy.
Yes.
Was there any other strategies that you were like, I need to maybe pivot, here versus this is not working? Any other strategies as far as marketing or anything else?
Yeah, I've had to pivot a ton of times with the business. When I first started, I was doing markets. My first thought was just I'm going to go out to the public, set up a table, see if people like the jewelry, which was a really good step because you can get direct feedback. Sometimes it's hard because you have to sit there all day and people are just kind of like just giving you feedback and it's stressful.
Or especially when they're like, you tell them how much it is and they're like,
yes.
What? They're like, what?
Yes.
Like, listen, it's handmade, people. It's handmade.
Yes.
It's a difference.
It is. And to get that feedback, for someone going into business, you really do have to have thick skin because people are always going to have feedback and you just have to get really comfortable explaining your values. So I would always say that when I'm like, well, it's handmade. This is different. We have to remember, this isn't being made by a machine somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And I was paid fairly. I have to be paid fairly. I had to pivot a lot. I tried boutiques. I tried, doing wholesale. So a lot of times, it'll take 2 or 3 different streams of revenue to keep the business going. So I had to pivot a lot, and it took me a while to get to the digital space.
Yeah. So as far as now in the space that you're in, where do you see it? How do you see it growing? Do you just see where do you see yourself moving as well as far as marketing wise? Have you thought about doing workshops or any of that kind of stuff?
No, it's something that does come up with makers a lot, and it's really difficult for me because it'd be very difficult to have a workshop with resin because I work with resin, and so it's hard to teach it. It's also difficult because you're asking makers to give their treats.
Yeah.
And so I've never done a workshop, but I have thought of doing like little DIY kits where you can maybe assemble jewelry, different things like that.
Yeah, for kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And especially during the pandemic, that would have been really amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really difficult. I do plan to continue to expand online, and the way that I envision Woman on the Moon is just kind of being this really cool online space where people can come and feel affirmed, and they can also learn. A big part of my brand is also educating through videos, so doing history segments or scavenger hunts. That's been something I've been trying to implement more and more, is being able to have people interact with Houston.
Yeah.
During Black History Month, I did a scavenger hunt around Houston in historically Black spaces. And
oh wow.
yeah, and
that's
so
awesome.
I wanted to do it for Hispanic Heritage Month, and I just completely, like, it honestly fell flat. But to be able to get Houston to interact with some of our communities and give them, like, East End has so much history.
Well, now that you've mentioned it, we'll have to partner next year for that, to do that, because I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, and there's a lot of history here in Houston, and there's a lot of opportunity to be able to share that kind of stuff. So yeah, we have to get together and work on that. I'm always open to collabs out there with small businesses, whatever that looks like. That's a great idea though.
Yeah.
And we also, I always tell people, we also have to remember, we don't necessarily even have to do it during Hispanic Heritage Month.
Right.
We can do it whenever. I know we like to highlight it for that month, but here on Los Vamonos, we celebrate our culture year round.
Yes.
So, but that's super cool. But yeah, that's great that you're able to do that, and I just love that you're supporting your community and your communities in so many ways, and you're doing it in a way that's very positive. And I love that, and very inviting for everybody to want to be a part of it. Because I was like, I want to learn more about what you do, and I love your brand, and I love that you are a maker and a small business owner, and you're a woman of color, and you're putting yourself out there, because we need that representation. It is really important. So we really appreciate it. For those that have joined on today, we've been on for a minute, but we are definitely going to have to sign off here. But we appreciate those that have joined on and have made comments and shared those comments and responses with us. If you missed the live, no worries, because we are recording today, right now, and we will be sharing it as soon as possible. Your girl got a new computer, so no more shutting off in the middle of the live. We're definitely working on that. So we've upgraded. We've been very blessed. And so we really appreciate those out there that have joined. And we will see y'all soon. There's a XOXO from Mexico, Rosie Garcia. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And also Soraya, thank you so much for joining as well. Houston Realtor, we appreciate you as well. Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And we are so thankful for Shannen, Garza, Hakim for joining us today. But we thank you for the love and support as always. Let's vamos.